Bet you I'm gonna have to throw some diesel in here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to top her off when I get back. Can't really see it. Ooh, this trailer is dirty. I think our wash bay is down though. Any of y'all ever pulled a 3-foot long trailer before? What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's having a blessed day so far. As y'all saw, I'm up here in Lafayette, Tennessee, finishing up a 10-hour reset. I had a 2-stop delivery last night. This one being my last one, of course. Kicked off some meat and produce. Man, I kind of miss doing the meat and produce loads for some reason. I don't know. It's just something, I don't know, something simple about them, which all the loads here are simple. But I don't know, I guess I like meat and produce because for once it's nice to step in the trailer and not freeze your butt off. Me being predominantly days, I haul a lot of frozen and dairy, and it can be a little sketchy in that trailer when it's -20 and you step on the little patch of ice inside the trailer, which I got boots that are supposed to be slip resistant. Every now and again, if you don't step just right in that trailer, yeah, you might be on the verge of busting your tail. Anyways, I wanted to make a real quick video. I guess I'm kind of on the pros and cons kick right now. I had an idea. I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of working day shift versus night shift. So let's get right into it. So when I first got hired on at Walmart, I started off on night shift just like most people typically do, I guess. Every now and again, you might get blessed and be able to start with a day shift position, but a lot of times, from what I understand, you're probably going to start off night shift. When I got here, I started off at 2200 gate time, and it was all right. I mean, I liked it for the fact of, well, for one, you know, you come out there, there's almost nobody on the road, especially if you have to deliver like in big cities, like for me being based out of Tennessee, Shelbyville, Tennessee to be exact. I did a lot of Nashville deliveries in the beginning. So anyone that's been to Nashville, or Crashville as they call it, it can be really hectic during the day, which is why I currently deal with being on the day shift. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice to be able to get through getting in and out of Nashville and not have to deal with the idiots on the road. Getting these stores a whole lot easier. If you have a mishap and accidentally turn into the wrong side of a store, it's a little bit more forgiving because, of course, you ain't got no cars there clogging up the area. You don't have people walking around. It's a little bit easier to get backed out of a situation or spin around if you got to and get to the proper area you need to be in. So it was definitely nice. And then on that particular shift, I feel like I was able to do a little bit more work because we did a lot of things that's called next day deliveries, which typically, like for instance, I'll start my night off with meat and produce, 2, 3, however many stops. I drop those loads off, and then I'll come back to the DC and I'll grab a load that delivers that next morning, usually a frozen and dairy. Now, the way it worked out, a lot of times I was able to get back to the DC and the load would be ready, but I couldn't deliver the load until the beginning time period for frozen and dairy in my area, at least. I don't know if this is company wide, but I know in my area I couldn't deliver frozen and dairy until 8 o'clock in the morning at the earliest, or it might be 9. I think it was 9 o'clock. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. It's been so long since I've done the next day delivery with frozen and dairy. But anyways, I couldn't deliver until that time period because if you show up early to the store, they actually consider that the same as being late because it throws off the inventory and throws off the system and stuff like that for the store associates. So they don't want you showing up any earlier than you're supposed to. I mean, basically typical reefer trucking, I guess. If you pull reefer period, I know a lot of these shippers, they don't allow you to show up early most of the time, and of course you can't show up late. So there's that, but it worked out pretty good for me. at the time, because I struggled trying to stay up the entire shift on night shift because I never worked nights before coming to Walmart. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm more of a solar powered driver. You know, it gets to a certain point, especially when it hits that threshold of 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 in the morning, right as the sun is coming up or right before the sun comes up, man, I just get dog tired. So it worked out for me because I was usually afforded a 2-hour grace period where I could kind of take a nap in between loads and then get up and make my deliveries. And if I couldn't make both deliveries with the frozen and dairy, the window was so wide with frozen and dairy, I get shut down probably about 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the day. And then when my clock reset, probably about 8, 9 o'clock, then I would still be able to get up and get to my next store and deliver it before the midnight cutoff for frozen and dairy. So it always worked out perfectly. But again, and aside from that, it's I believe it's a 7-cent bonus that you get for working nights, and 4 o'clock or 1600, if I'm not mistaken. I'm still working on my military time. That is the earliest that you can start out where you'll get that nighttime bonus. Anything earlier than that, you won't get that bonus. Like right now, I'm a 1300 out, 1 p.m. and I can't, of course, I can't get that bonus. So there's that. But it's, overall, I liked it. But they done away at my DC with the 2200 out, and they moved me down to 2000 out or 8 p.m. gate time, which I didn't care for that too much because I was still getting a nighttime bonus, of course. But it just, the way that shift started out, I never got a next day delivery because the way my clock would end and things like that, I would never have enough time to be able to get my stuff off, or the load wouldn't be ready in time for me to, I would have to wait a long time to get to the next day store because, again, you can only deliver at 9 o'clock at the earliest, or 8. I'm not sure. Y'all feel free to correct me in the comments. But yeah, so I would have to wait a long time and it wouldn't work out. So I didn't really care for the 2000 out as much. One of the cons, definitely, with working night shift, at least at my DC, it would tend to happen was I would have to wait a long time usually for my load to be ready. I don't know if, around that time of night with the meat and produce, if it'll be like a shift change or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's like a shift change because sometimes I waited as long as like 4 hours to get my load. I get to the DC ready to go, truck's loaded up, let's rock and roll, and I can't leave. I gotta wait on them to finish loading the truck. So that was the other downside to it. Just having to wait a long time to even get your first trailer, and of course your clock is running, so it eats up a lot of time with that, which was a lot of times why I wasn't able to get my second stop off of my next day loads because most of my time was eaten up. So that was definitely probably the biggest negative with that, with working nights. So I mean, it is what it is on that deal. So when they posted up on the board that this 1300 5.2, still a 5.2, 5.3 is what I'm on. When this was posted up on the wall that this was available, I put my name on it just to see if I could get it. And my manager, one of my managers called me up. It was like the day I got back, very first trip I got back from paternity leave. They said the person that had more seniority than me decided they didn't want it, so they offered it to me. I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and let's see how I like it. So I started doing that, and of course, again, I haul more frozen and dairy now since those typically run through during the day, and I like it pretty good overall. I feel like it could be a little bit better because I'm starting to do a little bit more next day loads. Well, I don't know if you really consider those next day loads or not, but I'm able to get 2 loads in, which is nice, but it doesn't always happen. I typically get like 1 big runs for the day, like 400-mile runs, which that's pretty nice. But with working 1300, I also do a lot of Nashville deliveries, and as I said earlier, it's during the day, being 1,300 out. By the time I get up to Nashville, by the time I get done, getting my trailer, doing the pre-trip, the whole 9 yards, fueling, I'm hitting Nashville right in the beginning of rush hour. I'm hitting those stores right in the heart of, some of these little suburbs and areas like that. A lot of school zones, clogged up traffic, stores are jam-packed. I mean, it can be aggravating at times. Not the biggest fan of that, but that's a trade-off, I guess. Sleep-wise, my body's more acclimated to that more than anything, because by the time I get done with my shift, which is typically about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm starting to get a little sleepy anyway around that time. And so I get shut down, finish my shift, get shut down, eat my dinner, and I'll get settled down and wake up typically around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, do what I gotta do, and then I'll do it all over again. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I do wish I could do a little bit more during the day. Like I said, sometimes it works out depending on how things go. Again, going back, by the time I get done with my first load, 2, 3, however many stops, I get back to the DC, and they'll have a load ready for me to take out, meat and produce. Well, again, working that time late at night, I'm guessing again that's during like shift change or whatever. So I'll get back to the yard sometimes with 5 hours, but I end up having to kill a lot of that time waiting on them to finish loading the trailer. So there's been times I've had to turn down loads and be like, look, I'm not gonna be able to get all this done in time, waiting on this load, to get done, because I could be late, which is a big no-no, because my clock won't reset in time before the meat and produce cutoff time, which is like 6 o'clock in the morning. Because my clock typically resets around 10, 11 o'clock later in the day, and at that point it'll be way late. So half the time it doesn't work out for me getting the second load. Again, that's just a trade-off to it. I know my DC is going to change some stuff up. The delivery times are going to change a little bit, and so I'm gonna hang on to this shift and see how that goes, and hopefully it works in my favor. Hopefully, because I'm not sure. I can't remember for sure if they're gonna pull it back 2 hours or move it forward. I think they're gonna bring it back 2 hours on the delivery time. So again, I'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But overall, I like the day shift. Like I said, it's worked wonders on my sleep, which all of us that drive trucks, we all know sleep is very important. You can't be in these trucks driving tired. Bad things can happen really quick. I've dozed up behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler before, and it is not a fun experience. Now, that was back in my flatbed days when that happened, but still, that was a very scary situation with that. And yeah, y'all don't want to do that. And I'm also trying to kick the energy drinks. They're not good for you. They're not the most healthy things for you. So I'm trying to quit relying on those so much and work a night shift. Yeah, energy drinks and coffee was my best friends trying to stay up. But ultimately, y'all gotta get that sleep. When your body needs that rest, you gotta rest. It will make you rest. I'm sure I'm probably leaving out some stuff, but that's kind of my thoughts between day shift and night shift. Everybody's got their own opinions about what they like to do the best. Everybody's different. There's some people that thrive at doing night shift because, again, you ain't got all these people on the road. Of course, most of the time your weigh stations are closed, which, based out where I'm at, I don't come across a lot of weigh stations anyway. But when I did, usually they'd be closed and I'd be able to keep on trucking and doing my thing. So that was the other nice thing about it. Because I've noticed since coming to Walmart, I've gotten pulled in for inspections a little bit more than I've ever been in my 5 years of trucking, working for other companies. And I don't know why. Well, I guess I kind of have a theory with it because Walmart has such a high safety standard and equipment is always where they should be. I guess a lot of these DOT officers look at us as an easy, quick inspection, which normally when I got inspected, it usually be like level 1. They just check the, I'm sorry, level 3. Yeah, level 3. They just check the paperwork out and check my logs, and they usually send me on my way. I think I've gotten one level 1 before where they checked everything, and yeah, but other than that, typically it's only been level 3s. But anyway, that's all I can think of off the top of my head as far as my opinions on the different shifts. I mean, there's a plethora of different start times. We could go on all day. That's worth doing its own video on, with the different shifts, different programs. I mean, there's so many different shifts you can do, different programs that fit your schedule. But this seems to work out the best for me and my family. I typically, when I'm home, I typically come home 4 out of the 5 days I'm working, and I usually just sleep in the truck at the DC, collect the layover pay, because again, by the time I get off at 3 o'clock in the morning, my wife and kids are in bed asleep as is, so there's usually no point for me to go home. I'll typically get up, get up about 8-9 o'clock and run to the house if I'm going to use my own shower or take care of whatever I need to take care of back at home, and then I'll come back and start my shift all over again. But anyways, y'all, that's gonna be it for this video. Didn't want to make it super long. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Want to see more content like this, feel free to ask me any questions or comments, add your input. That's what these videos are all about, educating one another, including myself. Never above learning new things, getting better at my job, and what's so on and so forth. You guys have a blessed day. I'm gonna get back to trucking here in a moment, and we're gonna do it all over again. Y'all stay safe on the road, keep the shining side up, and we'll catch you in the next video.